Hi, this is James Garden, the Cinetech Geek, and I'm at Portrait Displays with Tyler, and he's going to talk us through a bit about what Portrait Displays does, which is quite well known for buying the SpectraCal brand, and most people will probably know them through that. But then we're going to talk about accessibility for colour graders who want to get into colour grading high dynamic range, and what's a good way and what's good products to buy to get you there so you can get your feet wet and start learning how to grade in high dynamic range, because it is something you have to learn and experience in. But first of all, Tyler, tell us about Portrait Displays.
So first of all, we're now under the Portrait brand completely. The SpectraCal brand is being phased out just to reduce confusion for our customers. But the CalMan product is the main thing that is for our post-production community and broadcasting. So that is staying the same. You get the same basic calibration accuracy that you've always come to know from CalMan. My role as technical evangelist is to do interviews and talk about our technologies and the current trends in the industry, because we're in a kind of a unique position of talking to all the post facilities. So different ones might have different processes, and we kind of get an overview so we can help share with the community what are the current challenges and things like that.
So you talk to a lot of those post facilities, and I imagine you're getting a lot of feedback from them in terms of trying to get their color graders up to get their experience level with high dynamic range going. So what sort of advice are you giving them to, instead of going to buy a $40,000 monitor, that's not really very realistic. What do you advise them to do to get the guys going in learning how to do color grading in HDR?
Yeah, right now the big gating factor with, I kind of call it the HDR bottleneck, is the color grading monitors.
Yes,
that's
right.
We're talking at least $30,000, and it's hard to learn how the behavior of grading for HDR is if you don't have access to that type of hardware.
Right.
So what I've been recommending to people is to get one of the high-end consumer HDR TVs. If you go and read all the reviews from places like CNET or HDTV Test or places like that, the highest end stuff has close to mastering accuracy. Now, obviously, you're not going to be able to claim a Dolby Vision calibrated or capable monitor, and you're not going to be able to deliver Dolby Vision at Netflix with that type of monitor, but you can at least start to see how the color grading process differs from doing SDR, and how even things like your scopes behave differently, and how you need to approach things like shot matching and titling and stuff like that. And you can get there and start to learn on a high-end consumer-based TV and kind of start that process. So when you think you're ready, you can either work at a facility that has one of these monitors, or you can maybe get one yourself, and maybe at that time their prices will come down. I think what's going to explode is when we get into the $10,000 to $15,000 range. It's still, as much as a compact car, but it becomes a little bit more reasonable for especially places, smaller facilities, people doing corporate work, especially with how you can just upload HDR content to YouTube right now. You can just shoot it, grade it, and upload it, even if you have a consumer display as your HDR grading monitor.
That's right.
Nobody's telling you, hey, you don't have an X300, so you can't upload this.
That's right, and I wanted to really make a point of this because I imagine the corporate world, the wedding videographer, etc., is starting to be asked about HDR masters, because there's a lot of HDR monitors in the stores, and they're saying, well, how can I take advantage of this? And they're going to the corporate customers and say, I want HDR. So these are the paths where you can actually get a very decent HDR result without having to go out and buy those monitors, by using these domestic displays as your mastering monitor. And for that sort of corporate level work, you'll get an amazing result, I can tell you. So don't be afraid in giving it a go. But to finish this, though, I really want to bring back to the fact that it's not just the monitor you need. You still need to do color management solutions, and that's why I wanted to get Portrait Displays to talk about that and the CalMan software, because with the display you still really need to get your color management and understanding of how that works.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, over the last year and a half or 2 years, is we've integrated directly with all the high-end TV manufacturers. So if you get a Panasonic or a Sony or a Samsung or an LG, All of those currently now directly integrate with CalMan, either IP-based or serial-based connection. So it takes the repetitiveness out of the calibration process. You don't have to use the remote and go into the menu over and over. So it really streamlines the process. We've also announced at the show that we're integrating with Canon's HDR reference monitors, also Flanders large OLED monitors, their XM series. So if we are talking about professional monitors, we have those announcements as well.
Anyway, thank you very much. And yes, that's getting into HDR in the year of 2019, and all the knowledge that we can gain from NAB this time. Anyway, thanks. Bye for now. This is James Garden, the Cinetech Geek.